Hi everyone, Claudia here from Light and Clarity. Today we're going to be asking Spirit to show you the truth to do with the situations that are concerning you and worrying you at the moment. So it could be one situation, it could be many situations. So we're going to jump into this so you can pick either who has this message for you regarding the situations that have you concerned or worried at the moment. King Solomon, Archangel Gabriel, or Archangel Michael. Without further ado, we'll bring in King Solomon. Please bear with me. Thank you. So Solomon says to do with the situation or situations, there was one situation that you absolutely had to move through. He says this was an important life lesson and it was pre-written before coming in, he says. It was something that you in your soul wanted to experience. And for some of you, it was quite a difficult situation. I could feel a lot of you had a loss of breath over this or have a loss of breath over this. And it's been quite upsetting or quite stressful in different regards. It'll be different volumes for each of you. But for some of you, it's been very loud. So he says a lot of you are still moving through these situations. He says you are actually beginning to make ground with moving through them, and you're actually beginning to find some answers outside of yourselves as to how to proceed forward and as to how to resolve these. He says if that has not come in yet, it is coming in now or shortly, very, very shortly. He says we want you to hold yourselves in high regard. He places a hand over his heart when he says this. Do not let, he says, some of you have been quite held back as a result of this. He says you will not be held back for much longer. This did have to come in, he says, or these life lessons, or this one particular life lesson within the life lessons, for whatever reason you're watching this video, for whatever reason you have picked Solomon. He says you've been through some big things before. And for some of you, you feel as though you've been on a hamster wheel for a long time. You get off one, you're getting on the next one. You get off that one, you get on the next one. He says there is karma that is clearing, life lessons that you brought in that you wanted to understand and clear. He says they are beginning to clear now. It's like I'm seeing them being swiped off a slate clean and pushed away. He shows me the hearts will begin to open or are already beginning to open. I'm seeing easier breathing coming in. He says you're ready for this next new chapter that wants to open up. And he shows me at your feet a new chapter beginning to come in, a new platform coming in. And it shows me like the sun beginning to come in and shine in front of you and on the tops of your shoulders as you leave behind what was. You will find someone to help you to resolve some of the situations you're inquiring about. He shows me that they will come in and help. You are not without help here. So he holds you in his arms as he says this, yeah? I'm going to thank Solomon for coming in. And for those of you who chose Archangel Gabriel, let's see what he wants to tell you regarding the difficulties you're moving through at the moment. So Gabriel's really standing strong in his energy with you. He says, please don't give up yet. Some of you think that the time is up to do with whatever this is to do with, whatever topics this is within these situations, whatever these situations are. He says, you almost think like this is the end of it, that you've lost or that you've lost, that, you know, you haven't gained anything, that this is, you know, this is the end of it. And he's making me feel, please don't give up yet. He says a lot of you are going to come through this and triumph through this in such a big way. You're going to be stepping into your strength in such a way that you haven't seen before. He says a lot of you have made decisions you've needed to make and he supports you on this. He says a lot of you are going to come into making the decisions you need to make, and it will be made from a sense of strength and where you'll be like, you know what, enough is enough. This is what I decided, this is what I'm going to do, and that's that. In order to resolve this, in order to move through this, in order to let this go. So Gabriel's working very closely with you. He shows me the opening up of the sacral and the root and the solar plexus, assisting you with feeling more secure and more grounded. A lot of you have not felt that. A lot of you have, it's been a long time since you've felt grounded. It's been a long time since you felt that sense of security. But you're actually stepping up and stepping in stronger into your own shoes, he shows me. And if you aren't there yet, you're getting there now. And he just shows me this strength coming in that you can do this and that you are doing this. So those situations were a very, very high learning curve for you, and they were much needed, he says. And he's really smiling. A lot of you have learnt the life lesson you needed to learn. A lot of you have done really well with your own internal growing. I'm going to thank Gabriel for coming in. All right. Thank you. Now, as we move on to Archangel Michael, please bear with me for those of you who have chosen Michael. So Michael is standing very strongly with you. He's bringing in his royal blue energy around each of you. And he understands that some of you have been really, really sensitive towards what is it you've been going through. It's really been hard going, and you've been quite upset. It's not everybody, but that is some of you here. He's just acknowledging you. He says, hear my words, he says, this wasn't necessarily your fault. He says there was somebody or something around you that caused this, that perhaps didn't really need to be, but it did happen. And he says, and you have sort of really, some of you have really felt in your heart as to how to handle them or how to handle that organisation. How can this be? This feels completely unjust because it really just didn't need to happen. And he agrees with you to a point with that, to a point. He says a lot of you have learned a lesson where you'll never go that way before. You're going to go a different way from now on. So you have learnt something quite important. Some of you, it's been quite humbling what you've had to learn. Humbling from a point of view of disappointing, frustrated, upset on the quiet. A lot of you keep your emotions very within, he says. You don't allow everyone to hear exactly how you're feeling. You keep it inside and it does fester. He says you are already quite resilient people. You're quite emotionally intelligent and you do manage to walk your way and work your way, he says, through situations when they do arise. And he says that that's a lot of what you have been doing to do with these situations currently that you are in, or that you're just coming out of, or that you've just moved out of and from. He said it has tested your resilience in many regards. And if anything, he says it's going to teach you, or it has taught you, to honor yourselves, to back yourselves, to be there for yourselves. And I also see you no longer compromising yourselves for anyone. Your answers will be very firm no's or very firm yeses. There'll be no in-betweens. And you'll be very clear-cut how you speak, what you mean to say, and what you want and don't want, what you will accept, what you won't. You'll be very clear-cut. You'll be more careful as you move along with others. You'll be more careful as to voice more what you want to say, where you're more clear-cut on what you agree with and what you don't. And there'll be no middle of the road. There'll be no compromising. You will, and that's what this period has taught you or is teaching you. He says, keep going. He says, keep going. He's encouraging you forward. He says, it's all right. I am here. Just keep going. He says, you have this in hand and you will be moving out of these situations. He says, not to forget what he's saying. He says, mark my words, you are moving out of these situations. You are starting to come out of them and they will start to leave you. So he shows me as we move into December, these situations beginning to start to dissipate if they haven't already. And there will be certain people you would choose to block. Sorry for saying that, but that's what he's bringing up. Where you'll be like, no, I'm too busy. No, sorry, can't help you. No. And you'll be like putting a wall up. You'll be doing it nicely but firmly, yeah? And you'll move off and do what it is that you need to do for you. All right, I'm going to thank Archangel Michael for coming in. All right. Well, many warm blessings. Happy weekend. And I hope this video has been of help. Let me know in the comments. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.